Good morning, my name is Joe Malerba from Remax Coast and Country.
And I'm Jeff Kosiorek with Home Point Financial Corporation.
Doing as many sales as we do, we get a lot of questions every single week.
The goal is to address the questions that we see on a daily basis from our clients. And today's topic is going to be interest rates, how they affect the mortgage business, how they affect the real estate business, and what that's going to do over the next 12 months according to the projections from the industry professionals.
Fantastic. So there's a lot of talk both with the Fed and through industry professionals with interest rates going up. I know a lot of consumers have questions. What does that mean for me? Historically, when interest rates go up, prices also rise in real estate. And we've seen this many times over the years, and most recently being in 2007, interest rates did rise, and prices did rise with it, and that was being at the peak.
And according to bankrate.com, for a conventional 30-year fixed mortgage today, down payment aside, assuming a credit score in the 740 range, Bankrate.com says the national average is roughly 4.2% today for a 30-year fixed conventional mortgage, and that's with a half a point in discount, meaning you're paying a half a point to get that interest rate.
Correct. And this time last year it was 3.7. So interest rates have been trending up slowly, and there's a lot of anticipation that they're going to continue to rise, with different websites and different people saying various things. But a common consensus seems to be that they should be around 5% this time next year.
And I think what's interesting about that is, so I took the liberty of doing a little bit of research. I know Joe actually also did some research on different websites, and I have a projection for the next 12 months. So over the next 4 quarters, where the National Association of Realtors, the Mortgage Bankers Association, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are projecting the rates to be each quarter as we progress through first quarter of next year. So what's really interesting to me and almost mind-numbing is we see that Fannie and Freddie, who are the biggest purchasers of mortgage-backed securities in the secondary market, are projecting that the rates are going to go up 0.1% from the 4.2 to around 4.3 and level off over the next 4 quarters, which in my opinion doesn't really make sense compared to what everybody else is projecting. And the National Association of Realtors and Mortgage Bankers Association are projecting totally different numbers. They're projecting that the rates will go up to about 4.8% by first quarter of next year. So closer to the 5% that Joe has seen. And personally, I feel as though the rates just have to trend up, barring any national disaster. We all know that the economy drives the interest rates, and as the economy improves, that we're going to see an increase in interest rates across the board. At least that's my opinion of what's going to happen. So we have the projections again. Fannie and Freddie, who are buying up all the mortgage-backed securities in the secondary market, predicting they're not going to do anything. And then we have the mortgage bankers and the National Association of Realtors projecting a rate increase of about 0.75% over the next 12 months.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Certainly.
Feet on the ground, though. I've been in the real estate industry for about 7 years now, and Jeff has been doing mortgages for
16 years.
This spring right now, what are you actually seeing?
I'm seeing that the rates have trended up, or are you talking about?
As a result?
As a result, I actually see home prices increase too. I'm seeing a lot of bidding wars. There's not much inventory.
Activity.
Ton of activity.
Interest rates are rising, and what we're really seeing on the ground on a very consistent basis is more consumers are getting off the fence. They're finally pulling the trigger. They're ready to buy that home. They're ready to jump into it. They're ready to sell their home to move up. They've been waiting a long time to do it, and it's actually resulting in more movement. Connecticut, as a state, has fallen behind the rest of the country in terms of how quickly we've risen and how quickly we've recovered. But I really do believe that these interest rates have gotten a lot of people off the fence. We do have a lot of jobs still coming to the area with Electric Boat and the Navy, and the lower price range have just been off the hook lately. I mean, I'm selling houses in a day, 2 days, 3 days with multiple offers.
So talk to me about inventory though, because that's not something I see from the mortgage side of things. I hear that there is a decent amount of inventory out there when you talk to some real estate agents, but
Sure.
then when you read about it, they say there's no inventory. So
Correct.
talk to me about
Yeah.
the actual inventory
Sure.
in that $0 to $400,000 price range.
Sure.
What's available?
So today's consumer just loves HGTV. They're obsessed with this idea of the perfect little home. And to that effect, most consumers don't want your pink bathrooms. They don't want your dated kitchens. They don't want to paint and clean and fix and change around an overly cluttered house. They want to buy the finished homes. So the homes that are selling unbelievably quick for a premium are the homes that are staged well, the homes that show really well, and the homes that really have already done all the updates. And the homes that are lagging on the market and staying for quite a while are the homes that are quite dated inside or might be a little overpriced based on the condition. So first and foremost, inventory. Beautiful homes that are clean and priced with accordance with what's sold. I can't even get enough of them. The inventory is impossible to get. They're selling like this.
So a home that's priced well, staged well, presents well, is on and off the market quickly.
Within a week, they're sold, usually with multiple offers. So if I could just boil it down real quick, a lot of people are ready to make the move. There's not as much really nice inventory as there could be. Just basic economic principles. That means there's a lot of demand and not as much supply. So I believe we're going to be seeing prices rise. I don't think it's going to be a meteoric rise. I think we're going to see a 5 or 6% appreciation in Connecticut this year. Based on what I read, based on what I see through the different sources I've looked at online, that seems to be a pretty common projection. What do you think that means to you?
Well,
How does a 0.5% higher in a mortgage rate affect a price?
Well, obviously it affects monthly payments. So one of the biggest things that we see is a lot of these buyers, a lot of the modern today buyer is looking, they're looking a little more conservatively with respect to their debt ratio, meaning they're not looking to overextend themselves. We're seeing a lot more responsible buyers than in the past, where people were trying to max themselves out and say, I want to get the most I can, not really taking into account monthly payment. First and foremost, the most important thing to me is monthly payment, which is I think what you're driving at,
sure.
how that affects you. 0.5% on $100,000 in interest probably translates to about $50 a month in monthly payment. So
I think it's 30.
30? 30, well, it depends on
0.5%.
interest rates. If interest rates do increase, the monthly payment's going to increase with it.
Right now, interest rates averaging around 4.2%,
Yep.
right? And they're trending up towards this 5 number that I mentioned. What does that mean historically? As a lender, what is 5% historic? Is it a low number? Is it a high number?
Oh my God. People are so fixated on these rates in the threes. The reality is 5%, if you look over the last 50 years, is astronomically low. It's still unbelievably low. People say, oh my God, they're above 4% now. It is what it is. The rates are going to continue to increase, but they're still tremendous interest rates.
Sure.
I remember when rates in the early 2000s were somewhere around 6.5%, 7%, and they may get there again. They may get there sooner than we would like.
Historical numbers are closer to 6.5%, 7%.
Right.
If you average interest rates over the last couple decades, 7% is a pretty average number.
Right? Yeah, I totally agree. So taking advantage while they're still low, and then taking advantage even as they increase, you're going to be taking advantage of bargain rates and bargain home values, because they're both going to increase at the same time, or at least that's what they're projecting. All the economists are projecting that. So it's really important to understand that even as interest rates increase, even though I think that should make the home values drop, they're not projecting that that's going to happen.
Again, my name is Joe Malerba from Remax Coast and Country.
And I'm Jeff Kosiorek with Home Point Financial.
And I'm here for all your real estate needs.